Hey everyone, welcome back to Data Sync. So in this segment of our coffee shop case study, which is customer order patterns and retention, we are going to find out when customer like to order master morning, afternoon, evening, or other times. We will solve this query with two solutions. First is unpivoted and the second is pivoted. So the bottom output, as you see, is one is unpivoted version output and the second is a pivoted version output. Both tells the same story, but one is rows, the other is columns. We only need orders table for this query, so let's understand it. From this table, we will only use created data timestamp. It tells when the order was placed. So what we will do in this query, we will classify each order into a period like morning, afternoon, evening or other based on its hours. Then count how many orders fall into each period. After that, we will add a total row or column to show the overall count. And finally, we will show two formats. One is a unpivoted, it will show each period as its own row, and the second is pivoted, and this pivoted version show each period as its own column. So let's start writing the query. First, we will start with the select statement. Now for order period, we will use a case statement to check the hour of created date and assign a label. From 5 to 10 we will say morning, from 12 to 15 we will use afternoon, and from 17 to 19 we will use evening, else would be others. Here we will say case when extract hours from created date timestamp is between 5 and 10, then morning. Why we will use extract function? Because it's a date column, so we have to extract hours from this date column using extract function. And the created date timestamp is in a text form, right? So you have to typecast it to timestamp using these double colons. And now we will say between, if it's between 5 and 10, then we will create a morning row. Now in double quotes we will write morning. This will create morning row. Now for afternoon we will copy the same logic, just we will change the hours from between 12 and 15, then it would be afternoon. 12 if it's between 12 and 15. Now evening, here we will write afternoon. Now for evening we will do the same, just we will change the hours between 17 and 19, then evening. Finally in the else condition we will say other. This will create a other row and end as a order period. This column would be order period, right? All the rows of case statement will come into this column. Well, the second column would be order count. We'll count all orders in each label group. Here we will write count star. In place of star we can also use order ID, but it won't be counted if there is a null in order ID column from order column. And now we will group it by order period, because if you are using count or any other aggregate function, you have to use group by clause. Let's run the query to see what it returns. Okay, now the output shows order period column and order count, and in order period there is one row that we need, which is total. So for that we cannot use total, and in order to achieve that we will write another query and then combine it with this query using union all. And here we will add another row total to the order period column. So we will start with select statement, and in double quotes we will write the row name, which is total, right? And you have to give the same name as in the previous query to this column, which is the order period. If you don't do that, you would encounter an error. So as order period, and the other column is order count, so count star as order count. You have to use the same quantity of column in the previous query and the same names from orders. So let's run the query to see the output. Now the output shows now the full rows, and finally we will give it a order where morning come first, then afternoon, then evening. But we cannot use order period column, so we have to repeat all these two queries into a sub query, and we will say select order period and order count from these two queries, and in from clause we will wrap these two queries, right? Well, now from and in these brackets we will wrap these two queries. These are now a sub query. We will give a name to this sub query as a combined result, and now from this combined result we can use order period to order the output. Now for that, and finally order by order period. Now first we will say morning, right, because we want morning first, and we will use if order period equal to morning, and now we will use descending order to force the order, right? This will force the order and it will show morning first, and we will do the same for the rest of all, for afternoon and for evening. The descending order will force to show the morning first, then afternoon, then evening, then others. And lastly, we would say order period should be equal to total descending. Let's run the query. Now the output is now in the same order as we ordered: morning first, then afternoon, evening, and other, and then total. This was the unpivoted version, and now it's completed. So now let's focus on a pivot version. And in this pivot version we will create columns from the rows, like from morning, afternoon, evening, others, and total. The second solution will contain unpivoted version of this query. Also you will learn how to create unpivots from pivots in SQL. I will paste the whole solution of the pivoted version here, and we will understand it step by step. So this is the solution. Let's first run it to see the output, then we will understand it. As you can see, it shows all the rows like morning, afternoon, evening, others, and totals as columns. First let's select all the select statement part and press tab buttons to give it a better structure for a better understanding. Also let's select this count function part and press tab to give it a better structure. Now it's the time to understand the query. First we have to understand that we used a count function for each column, and this is one of the best practices to create columns from rows, right? So in that count functions we use case statements, right? But in the previous query we use only case statements to create rows, but here we will create columns using count function. You can also use other functions based on the use case. So for morning and for the first column we use the same logic, just we wrap it up in a count function, and we count only those orders whose hours is between 5 and 10. This case when return 1 for matching rows, null otherwise, and null won't be counted, only 1 will be counted. We repeat the same process for afternoon and evening, just we change the hours. For others, as you see, there is 3 conditions, and this condition tells that if The time is not between all of these, not between 5 and 10, 12 and 15, and 17 and 19. Then it will be counted as others. And finally, for total, we count all orders simply by counting their extracted hour. Every row has a value, so this gives the total from orders table. I hope you understood everything clearly. Let's run the query again. And this pivoted version return every row from the previous query as a column. Thanks for watching. If you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe it and click the like button. See you in the next video.